Subscribe, mother looker.
Changing levels with him. He gets a shin on shin. This shin on shin here that he has is a good attachment and leverage for him. Okay, so we're just rotating. Got a shin on shin. Recognize what I do as I change levels. Very important. Very, very important. Recognize how my elbow, my right elbow, as I'm changing levels, meet my right knee. Okay? I'm closing up this inside space. And this is not really thought about after you get that mat time and you put into practice. But this space in between my hip here and my armpit is mine. I can't allow him to get an underhook there. I can't allow him to get a foot there. I can't allow him to get any kind of his body parts. Knee. You'll get underhooks there. You'll get knee shields there. You'll get a foot on the hip. Like, all of these are good attachments to control and to make your partner vulnerable. And the way to prevent that as the person on top trying to pass the guard is to close that space down. When you have good jujitsu, you make connections and transitions seamless, okay? And so you want to practice that. While I'm standing, the same grips I can use as a takedown as a defense to not be taken down can be used to pass a guard and attack as I'm being taken down, or as I'm taking down, or as I'm defending against a sweep to someone who pulls. And you see here that I still have my cross collar grip, right? The more I'm letting go and trying to grab other things, it allows for him to move freely. And it's less seamless between the technique that you're using in your system. And so your system should seamlessly attach to one another. And the better you can do that, to have one technique transition into another technique without changing too much of your positioning or your control or your attachment to your opponent, the easier jujitsu can be with you, the more efficient you can be. All right. So as I'm standing, I have my cross collar. As I'm trying to pass, I have my cross collar. Okay. Another thing, when he's down, he does a really good job of keeping off of his back and staying concave. See, right now, I want to get him flat on the ground. But right here, if you see, his body is concave, okay, in the C motion. When you're flat on your back, it's harder to move around. If somebody lays on top of you, you have very little motion and movement if you're flat. But when you're concave in the C movement, you can rock, you can roll, and you can shake, baby. But anyway, be concave. Never be flat unless you have a purpose. There are times and techniques where you do go flat, but with a purpose. Shout out to Lucas Lepre. His style of passing is what I use. Knee cut slide to a leg weave to the other side, almost back into like a knee smash. To rocking the boat to a knee smash, to a leg drag, and cartwheel flips and all that jazz. So that's the system that I've been working on for a pass. And you'll hear me say system because I think that's what jiu-jitsu should focus on. That's how you multiply your jiu-jitsu, by focusing on a position you often end up in and then building techniques off of that position that again transition seamlessly between each other. That's how you build a great jujitsu system, a great jujitsu game. Forget about learning 1 plus 1. What you're gonna do is learn 25 times 80. Okay, when you're focusing on position, techniques that come from that position, whether it's defending, reframing, attacking, uh, reversing, just from that position, now you have so many techniques. But if you just learn techniques, it's like, oh, one, two, and three, and they might not even coincide. Don't learn 1 plus 1. Multiply, learn exponentially. Don't just learn techniques, learn positions, names of positions, connections and attachments, principles, and then the techniques flow into that. Immediately, I remove my hand from his cross collar, from the cross collar grip, because that's not what I use to pass. I'll grab his right collar on the same side. And the reason I want to do that is because grabbing that right side allows me to get him flat. Like I was saying earlier, he wants to be in this position or on his side. I want him flat on his back on the ground. Makes him less mobile, easier to control. So that cross collar grip that I grab, the reason I grab it is because I want to push him down to the ground, sort of in that direction, in this direction, like down to the ground that way. So I switch my hands to his right collar. And as he's rocking back, I should be pushing him down to the ground flat. Now, of course, I got to keep my base and be secure. Let's see if I execute this well. So he's doing a really good job of keeping his feet on me and using all of his frames. His right hand is on my thigh here. His right foot is under me a bit, keeping his frame in. His left foot is on my hip. His left hand is on my shoulder. Jiu-Jitsu 101. Meaningful grips, meaningful frames. Frame. What I think he probably should be trying to go for, which he might, just popping off what comes to my head, he should be trying to go for an underhook under my left arm. So his hand should be inside. Because if his hand is inside, even if he's got it close to his chest, when I lay on him, he can slide it up under as an underhook. So if he turns to his side right now and then swim that arm under, like he's trying to do the robot, right? And he swims that arm under and gets the underhook. But swimming that arm under, do the robot, and get that underhook. If I was him, I probably would try to either grab my sleeve here. If I'm you, brother, I'm trying to get this guy's right sleeve. I'm gripping that. It's on my leg. I don't want him controlling that bottom leg. That's a very important leg for me when trying to keep guard. I don't want this guy on top controlling my bottom leg. Not unless I have a move from there. Not unless I'm going to do reverse De La Hiva, Kiss of the Dragon, and come under. And it's fine for my leg to be under there. But even still, when you're doing Kiss of the Dragon, I think, and I don't do that technique much, but you need that sleeve, stuffing it under, getting it out the way. So I'm doing a good job of obviously keeping my base, because at any moment, you can be swept from a random technique. I don't know his game, but I'm doing a good job in monitoring this leg and pushing it down. Okay, I want that flat on the ground as well. I want to open up this leg space because I like I want to open up this leg space here. From his leg out here and his leg down here. I want my whole right side. I want my whole right side of my body inside this area. Okay? And this is going to stay out as a post. My knee will be on him, and my hand will be pushing him flat to the ground. Because I want my knee cut slide. If I was on the ground for 100%, I've learned this playing guard. My bottom leg is very important in many, many positions, whether it's deep half, collar sleeve, lasso, spider. This bottom leg is powerful. If I can just push this out of the way, I'm past his guard. Anyway, I digress. You have to have a purpose with your attachments or a purpose of detaching, of creating space. You want to take space or create it with purpose. Okay? So I just push him down flat because that's how I want him. I want to push him down flat. As I'm pushing him down flat, as I was pointing out when I was standing in earlier, I'm rotating that leg away so that I can bring this knee down into his hips. As I'm rotating that leg away, as that leg is rotating away, because my right arm here is pushing it away under me, I'm going to bring this knee down for a knee cut slide. As I'm doing all that, at the same time, I'm pushing him flat onto the ground. Okay? All right. So as I was pushing him flat to the ground, he grabbed a hold of my right sleeve. Okay? Because I guess at that point he recognized what he should be doing with his right hand. He grabbed my right sleeve. As he does that, now my plan has changed. Okay? Now what I want to do, because I can't do my knee cut slide, what do? You go with the positions. The best way to do jujitsu is not. Sometimes instead of getting a grip off of me, what I'm practicing on in rolling and getting mat time is like, okay, if I don't want to spend time getting this grip off of me, well, first let me think, can I use this grip against this person? I mean, in the beginning, when people are talking about jujitsu, that's the big thing. Oh, you use their motion and their weight and their strength against them. That's a principle. That's an idea. Okay. So in every movement, in every position I'm in, I'm wondering like, okay, how can I use this grip against me? You know, he has the same side collar. Does that stop me from doing my technique? Can I do another, again, seamlessly transitioning into another technique, building a system? Okay. So instead of going for the knee cut slide, what do I go for? I believe this is the knee weave or a knee smash. So you notice my right leg and left leg almost trade places. I bring my left leg in. Watch my left leg coming from the outside. And that's when I recognize, okay, this knee cut slide is not about to work. Okay, he grabs my sleeve. My left leg comes in behind his right leg and I smash his knee down. Okay. I do it bad. And then I try to rotate around his knees. And as I try to rotate around, I'm trying to fall into his chest and hip area right now. He does a really good job of getting his legs up. But that whole like sequence, it's like a system. It's like if you're learning, what do I mean by learning 1 + 1 versus learning multiplication? I didn't just focus on I didn't just focus on a technique, and the technique would be knee cut slide. Like I was saying before, my whole connections were connected to my passing game. My takedown is connected to my passing game, and my passing game is connected to multiple techniques of passing. So it's like a multiplication in like one session, you know? And if you just focus on a knee cut slide and you don't think about what you can do when the person reacts to you and just go to that, then when this person grabs my sleeve, then I'm trying to just beat the nail on the head when the nail's already there and it's not going in any deeper. Okay, now I'm just destroying the wood. All right, knee cut slide doesn't work. I bring the knee smash in. The knee smash doesn't work. I run around him. Way. Let's see, coming back the other way. Right, that didn't work, so I try to rotate around. And at this moment, like you see, his legs are up. My job now is to fall into this pocket right here. Like I want to I don't want to be in his legs. His legs is his frames. His legs is his defense. I want to fall on his chest and in his hips. Like I want to be inside and under. I want to be under his legs here. And I want my head and shoulders to fall into it. That's very basic, okay? That I try to run around. Another important thing, it'll be really easy right here for beginners to leave either one arm in and one arm out and make yourself vulnerable to arm bars, triangles, and omoplatas. But I've been putting that enough to naturally not leave myself vulnerable. You got to think of what you're doing, but don't forget, like, this other person's working on something too. So you got to have awareness of yourself and of the person. So your head has got to be in the game. Don't just go out there and see red. Go out there and see patterns. So again, I'm bringing my knee in, and at the same time, my elbow is with my knee. I have a knee cut slide position. I'm driving my knee down, and we can't see, to his hip and driving myself into him. He's doing a good job and just keeping his foot in there. So, okay. So maybe that's something I need to work on. As I'm driving through, you see this elbow's opening up. As I'm driving through, I need to tuck myself in and get inside of him, maybe. Upper belts, let me know in the comments. I'm also going to be looking up some stuff on YouTube and asking my professors and coaches. But this whole time, maybe I could, I don't know. You never know when you're rolling, but at this point, I need to sag my hips more. I think I'm trying at this point, but if I'm not, then I need to do that. He's doing a really good job of keeping his foot in. I mean, one way, this is little details that are like overpowered for him, and you don't have to be so flexible. Um, but just him keeping his foot in is stopping me from past the guard. So I know my job is to get my shoulders inside of his leg, and his job is to get his leg in front of us, in between me and my chest and his chest. And right now he's doing a very good job. I don't know if you would call that an inversion. He's doing a very good job of keeping his foot there. And it's just keeping me from getting chest to chest and keeping me from getting the pass. Okay. Eventually, his leg is pushed out. Let's see. So I have my arm flared out right here, it seems, to push his thigh down. And you'll see I get into a good power stance on this side. to go into this direction to push him down. And as we get in that direction, I'm pulling him and his shoulder this way, and I'm pushing myself into this space in here. So in a second, you'll see my hand slide through, and I'm at that point I'm controlling his hip, and I'm inside, and I have the inside position, and his leg is no longer on the inside. So now I can get even closer to his chest, closer to the chest to chest position. What did I? And he got back into half. Let me see. Go back, 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 back. Okay. So he's framing on my bottom leg here with his hand. He does a good job of shrimping his knee in. You'll see. Okay. So the reason he was framing my leg is to move it out the way. Why did he move it out the way? Because he was creating space behind his arm. Act like his arm is invisible here. This arm is invisible. But he pushed my leg out the way so he can make space in here. You see the light under there? The space is this big. That's how big the space is. More than enough space for him to bring his left bottom knee in. Again, I told y'all the bottom knee in your open guard, in your closed guard, or while you're on your side, the bottom knee when somebody's trying to pass in so many guards is so important. So if you're recognizing you're getting passed a lot, your guard is not being is just being melted through. Maybe pay attention to them gripping your legs. What are they doing with your legs? And what can you do to use their grips or break their grips on your leg? It's quite easy, actually. So he brings his knee inside and he shrimped it in after he created space with this arm of his. I'm trying to get chest to chest. What? Wait. And my job there, which I failed at, is getting this my knee right here. He's pushing it away. I want my knee to come in and I want to put it at his bottom hip. I want my knee all the way in there. And actually, I want my shoulder more in here as well. But he's doing a good job of pushing me away. Knowing the game, like, okay, I got to get him away from me. And as I create space between him and I want to close that space with my frame. So he wants to bring this leg in. He wants to bring that bottom leg in. And he wants to square up to me. He wants his body inside of this square. And he wants me at the top of the square as he's at the bottom of the square. Into a closed guard, most likely. I get my underhook. He's framing with his hand. All right. So I'm in a half. What do I do from here? Trying to knee cut slide. All right, I'm trying to knee cut slide. What I should do right here is cut this my bottom left leg right here what I should be doing, cut this bottom left leg here across his shin and point my knee that way. And at the same time, lift him a bit and squish my elbow down to flatten out his top shield. After I do all that, then I'm going to rotate that knee that was pointing that way and that push down this way, out that way. I'm going to rotate my knee on top of his shin and come behind him. If you can imagine that.
And then I'm gonna hold the sleeve right away, okay? At this point over here, look how I'm gonna like keep the collar nice and tight, put my forearm and my elbow blocking his leg, okay? Before he tried to escape his bottom leg and try to recompose the guard, I keep my right knee very heavy. Now I'm gonna slide my right knee, cutting my knee in and cutting my knee out, okay? That we call the wave pass. Go 1, 2, and start, get on the side. I pit stop over here, the same line to his hips. When he try to shrimp out, I'm gonna block his hips with my...
But hey, that's what my game was, my top game is so far. Okay.
Subscribe, mother looker.